We should probably get started.
Nah.
Are you sure? We've still got 21 minutes.
Silence.
I think you guys need to roll for things.
Oh, God. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, roll for ducks and roll for merch.
Okay. That's a heavily ducked.
Oof.
Oof.
Big oof.
We need some hoisin with that. Oh.
Ooh. High rolls this time around. High rolls.
Yeah.
But not for what it's
I think I could say that we've got ducks with merch. Dagger! Thank you for the 35-month streak! Those eyebrows. Who's got eyebrows? I'm sorry, what?
I mean, I hope all of us have eyebrows.
I think you're talking about me. I was wiggling my eyebrows for camera.
I've seen people who tattoo their eyebrows on.
Yeah.
I've seen
Because
that
it
as well.
saves time compared to makeup.
See, I just don't touch my eyebrows.
Except that the makeup is done by basically plucking your eyebrows into non-existence to begin with. So
I've just got fantastic eyebrows.
Yeah, just be
I'm
fantastic.
I'm happy with my eyebrows. If people want to do that, then so be it. But it's not. I don't personally understand it.
Yeah, I'm
anyways, so we have our trio party here of Eloquent Edgar, the Bard, and Negotiator Extraordinaire. We have Sidonus, the what would be the phrase here?
The masked vigilante, pretty much.
I'm
Harry
gonna go with
Potter.
because you are literally talking about
He's
dismantling
Harry
the Empire
Potter.
stuff.
He's got an owl. He's Harry Potter. He's
And
a
then, of
wizard.
I'm not
course,
good with that.
yeah, and then of course we have Austin, the rapscallion street urchin, who apparently can steal people wholesale if he puts his mind to it.
I am the pain in the ass.
You're a wizard, Sidonus.
I mean, I hope so, or else his
He's
character
like, I'm a
grows
what?
And in the course of the campaign thus far, I shall recap because the last one was nearly a month ago. You guys arrived in the town of Hillspread, on the far eastern side of the Empire, and discovered strangeness and ancient things that have yet to be fully explored or explained, except that it seems very clear the military wants it under tight wraps. And this has led to you being pursued, let's say.
That's a word.
And you are now presently on the run. You have snuck back into Hillspread only briefly to steal back the wagon containing food supplies and a whole bunch of other stuff. And you are now headed out west toward the estate of Lady Valerai, who controls this particular region. You have been traveling in your damaged wagon for the past 2 days, and you approach the outskirts of the estate. And what you see before you, if anyone wants to make a spot check, can be described as such.
Sure.
I will give it a go, even though I'm not that good at it.
I'm not, just because I don't think Austin's going to be paying any attention whatsoever.
It's fine with me.
He's just still asleep in the back.
Says me a roll.
Oh.
I am looking, but I have a mirror in my peripheral vision. Hello.
So what you're actually seeing is the space behind the wagon.
Sure. Or
And
my
even that is mostly cladded by your own face.
I imagine, like, doing those, like, what you would ask a person out with lines, but he's saying them to himself as he just looks at himself in the mirror.
Yeah, he's not practicing, he's just asking himself out.
I'm
Narcissus
making
got nothing
dinner
on this
plans
guy.
at the moment.
Okay, well, Sidonus, you're the one actually closely paying attention. Edgar, we'll say you had the most recent, like, shift driving the cart, so consequently your eyes are pretty heavy, you're pretty tired. Functional, but not really... You're sort of like zone, as it were.
Sure.
Sidonus, what you see before you is large. Larger than any structure you saw at all inside of Hillspread. Larger than you've seen in most, in most, like, settlements at all. And it is basically a castle. It is huge. There is a perimeter wall around most of it. There's a few odd buildings just outside. There's a interior gate that appears to pass into a stableway. And there is a series of large parapets and mounts along the wall. And inside of it is a mound leading up to a actual building, which has very obvious guard towers There's parts of the brick in this wall that seems to be lighter color than others. Perhaps it's been repaired over time. It looks very old. And you get the barest of looks through the windows, but what you can see is, especially in that upper building, it looks to be quite affluent. It looks to be as though someone has taken extreme extravagance and they have built a fortress around it.
I'd just like to remind you both that I am of very minor nobility, and I've worked my way up to that position, so I would suggest that we all act quite deferentially in the upcoming conversations and negotiations.
I'm just gonna go. I don't really care.
I'm just gonna look towards Austin and then go, perhaps if you stay in the back and stay quiet for the most part and bow if necessary, that would be best.
It's just
Did you expect Austin to be the center of to be the center of the social occasion?
No, just in case we're all asked to bow or something like that. I'm just trying to ask Austin to perhaps acquiesce if a request comes.
Basically, but Austin does not know anything of etiquette of any kind. He doesn't know what bowing is. He doesn't know how to, to be honest, he doesn't know how to shake somebody's hand in a nice fashion that's not pinching their watch.
Don't worry about shaking anybody's hands, and if you're expected to bow or anything, just simply lean your body forwards from the waist, keeping your legs straight, a slight bit forwards, and then move back. However much you're comfortable with, it should be enough to show.
He's looking off in the other direction. He's not paying attention to you in the slightest, just pulling the earwax out of
I'll
his
take
ears.
that as enough briefing and just kind of, keep on resting my eyes a bit, just kind of recuperating my mental faculties just before we get involved with this.
Okay, so Zonos is going to intervene with a case of pretty much this is not how you. It can't really be expected to throw essentially him into the lion's den and expect him to perform how we may have experienced life so far. So what I would suggest is to have Austin perform a secondary task, perhaps to assist in our what's it called, our endeavor later on, or to perhaps see if they can find a way in without their knowledge, or maybe looking around what the outer rim. The houses around there, seeing what they can find, see if they can figure out anything or any more information, rather while we're in there.
I think scouting for more information is a very good suggestion. I'd just like to suggest that no thievery takes place in this town, lest the guards come down with anger.
Well, what they don't see can't hurt them.
Well, I'll turn
What
to.
they don't live to see can't hurt you.
I'll turn to Austin and you have free will to do what you must, but please let it be within the realms of assisting us in pursuing more information on this for your big payday, for example. However, any action you take that would hinder this, we will have to distance ourselves from you. Essentially, you would be on your own. We need to keep a high profile among these people. However, if you can gather more information without causing distress to everyone around here, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
So, out of RP, he's essentially saying, do what the hell you want, as long as you is helping us find information either about Lady Valerie or about the information we can find out about the dig site and the creatures. However, if you get caught doing something illegal, we don't know you. Because we need to keep a profile with these people.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So that's what I'm saying, basically. Is
Oh, yeah, no. I'm trying to think of, like... I mean, Austin is both... He knows you guys, but he doesn't really care about you guys enough, where if he has to distance himself, it's still kind of a... could deal with it situation.
yeah, pretty much. So that's what he's going to say to you anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Now it's fairly early morning, but you can see that there are still some lights on inside. You can see that the sun is just crowning over the horizon, and the majority of the area around the fortress essentially is just grass. There's a slight hill curve to it, but the majority of it's relatively flat. There's the odd spotted tree here or there, but the majority of it seems to have been cleared one way or another throughout the ages by presumably oncoming hordes and armies laying siege. So there isn't really anywhere you can discreetly park your wagon, so are you going to be just riding up, or are you going to be trying to discreetly wheel around?
Well,
I think riding up, but without pomp.
well, if we're gonna do it, if Austin wants to do what they're gonna do to go and look around and find more information or find a way in, they're gonna have to get off now.
Oh, okay.
I look at Austin and I go, Austin, are you planning to keep hold of my bag of holding for a while longer?
Austin just jumps off. And is quite happy,
I'll
like,
just
dangling it in front of himself.
as you're
while he
leaving,
walks
as you're
off.
leaving, I'll just say 2 days' rent is accumulated.
Just like, it's alright. In that case, you'll never get it back.
Yeah, unless you send actual bailiffs and such after all, stand up, and that's coming back anytime soon.
No, the bailiffs would end up in the bag of holding if I had to
Steal the bailiffs.
have them work for me next.
Okay, well, so while Austin does that, I'm gonna look toward, Sedos will look towards Edgar and says, friend, I'm used to, living the higher, well, I have been used to living the higher life at some point, so I do understand how to behave in certain circles, but, I must say it's been a while. Is there anything I should probably do to, do you have anything for my appearance, perhaps, or is there something I'm missing?
I'll give him a look over just to see, how he generally looks. Does he look presentable?
Actually, let's have a look. What do I normally wear? I have a scholar's outfit. So
okay, a scholar's outfit would be relatively simple. It's made for just spending a lot of time sitting down and just reading books for the most part, doing a bit of studying in the like. But for the most part, it is a robe, a belt, a cap, some soft shoes, and a cloak.
How tall is Sedonis?
5'11".
5'11". Okay, I'm 5'8". Potentially, if you were to wear my clothes, which is a noble's outfit, okay, but but has a bit of superficial damage on it, which I'm covering up my hat disguise, and I can wear your clothes and use a hat of disguise to make them look nice and all that kind of
Bit
shit.
of a blood stain on the side, yes.
Well, I could potentially then use disguise to try and cover all that up.
Well,
but
how
my
about
disguise is only 9? It's a bit convoluted.
how about instead I take the role as
Oh, sorry, carry on.
I was gonna say, how about I take the role as your understudy or your assistant?
Attendant.
It might make you seem a bit more important, if you know what I mean.
That could work. I mean, otherwise you could always prepare your spell list to include a spell like Alter Self, so you could just...
Yeah, I actually just remembered I hadn't actually handed in my list, so while we go in and you're doing your talking, I'll hand you the list from what I was gonna give. So
if you want to just go forwards as understudy or assistant or anything like that, that's all fine.
Thank you for the bits.
You could even be an in-training valet.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. So that's fine. So I'll go essentially as your. What did you say? Is that?
Well, an in-training valet. A valet is, a gentleman's gentleman.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. That's fine.
You might be expected to serve tea.
That's fine. I'll do whatever role is needed to get this. So.
So
Alright.
this is where my character would wish they were there, just to see one of them serving tea to somebody else.
Let's if you're trying to like play the part, let's give you like let's make this interesting. Roll performance for me.
Oh, good
Can
lord.
can I roll disguise to help him look a bit more of a part and also give him a bit of coaching?
Absolutely, and depending on your roll, we will give Sidonus advantage on that.
Oh! Not 20.
Okay, yeah, you get advantage, which means you roll twice and take the higher roll.
Okay, so what is... So performance just based on charisma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good lord. Okay, it's 1.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep, +1 for performance.
Oh! Okay, we'll take the 19.
You get to roll a second one as well, just in case it's better. Oh, no, that was
You
the
did,
second
yeah.
one.
No,
Just,
yeah.
just took a moment to get to our side. Yeah, so with a 20, so you roll up to the gates, and just whilst Edgar is currently like engaging with the guards to try and pursue getting into the actual like perimeter, as it were, you're attending to Edgar. You're brushing off his sides and like making sure he looks as pristine as you think he should. You're recalling memories of when he first walked into the tavern that one like summer's evening, and you're hesitant at points. You stumble. You're not really remotely fit for this, but you are able nonetheless. You are pretty sure to pull off a convincing act to the guard. So meanwhile, Edgar, there's a guard talking to you. What do you say?
Excuse me, dear sir. I was just wondering if we could, perchance, alight into Lady Valerie's house. We have some information which we think it would be much to her pleasure to be aware of.
Right, who should I say she's coming?
My name is Eloquent Edgar, and I'll flash my signet ring.
I'll need to see that ring, sir.
I'll hold my hand over.
Okay, the guard goes to remove the ring.
I'll allow him to do so, studying him quite calmly.
Okay, so he takes it off your finger. There's a little difficulty because hey, it's a nice ring. And the nicest rings are always the hardest ones to get off.
Of course.
Without a knife, anyways.
My one has barbs, just to keep it in.
Yeah. Whenever it's pulled against the
Has
direction.
a spell of death upon it!
He observes the ring. He like makes note of the details, and then still holding the ring and jotting down a few details, he wanders back into the nearby guardhouse.
I'll turn to... Are there any other guards nearby as well?
There's 2 currently trained on you on opposite sides of the wagon holding halberds.
I'll turn to one of them and just quite casually remark about the weather and what it's been like over the past couple of days. We've been travelling, so we haven't been in the area.
Okay. So a few moments pass, and the guards at the gate don't seem to be terribly put off by this. As far as they're concerned, this is just an ordinary kind of affair. And within time, you're not really sure how much, but it seems an age, the guard manages to come back. And he's still holding your signet ring. He passes it back to you. And it says, head up to the stables. We'll get you more checked in there. No
Thank
funny
you,
business,
sir.
Mr. Edgar.
Thank you very much, sir. And then I'll, go to move back to my carriage and wait for my
I'll open his...
valet in
yeah,
training to open the door.
I'll open his door.
I'll nod.
The greater question is, we know what this wagon's like. Where is this door? This wagon barely has a right-hand seat.
I'll open the entire right side.
Excellent.
Fireball.
Just pull off some extra planks.
You'll kneel over and provide a step for me to...
Yeah! I'll get... Yeah,
Roll
actually...
20 performance.
Oh, God damn it. Oh, wait, no, because I already did, so I can. Do I have to do it again?
No.
No.
If you go to do that, I'll brush it off and I'll go. No, there's no kind of like clambering even.
Oh, if he does that, oh, thank you, my lord.
No, you need to play it up. Me lord, please step on me.
Me lord, it's the only way
You
I
know
can.
what? It would be my truest honor.
It's the only way I can feel these days, sir. Please, sir, step on me, like me ma did.
This is a very, very strange.
Well, this always happens every single time a player like pretends to be the servant of another player. This is completely normal.
It is quite.
I'm putting my I'm putting my
Okay.
list together, by the way. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll bring it into the stables.
Yes, or rather, you'll sit on the chair, and Xernos will bring it into the stables. Austin, could you roll move silently for me?
Oh,
Oh boy. Keep that.
let's have a look.
yeah.
Under
Size.
skills, midway down, you have a plus 17.
Where's the thing?
Just to say, Andy.
Do you want to roll it, or do you want me to roll it?
You've got all my things, so it's probably easier.
If you look at the little like dice-shaped button on the far right-hand side, it will also just auto-roll it for you.
30.
Nice.
Okay.
Cool.
So, whilst this is happening, you are roughly lashed to the underside of the wagon, and you're almost falling asleep by the time the wagon gets moving again, but the jolt over one of the rocks in the courtyard manages to wake you up fully. And no one checks under the wagon. Or at the very least, no one looks into the wagon and finds you. And consequently, you are able to find your way into the grounds of Lady Valorai's estate without anybody knowing that you are among the party.
Nice.
Awesome.
My face when this session becomes the mysterious murder of Lady Valorai.
Oh no. I'm just thinking. I'm looking at my list. I'm just thinking of scenarios like summon swarm. It's like,
I'm just saying, make sure you keep Dimension Door, please.
yeah, so I'm thinking more like summon swarm. So for people who don't know, summon a swarm of bats, rats, or spiders. So we could be like, is this the sort of place you expect me to bring eloquent Edgar, my lord?
We shouldn't do anything like that. Way beneath this lady in status.
Is there anyone around my area that could spot me?
Roll spot for me.
Oh, Jaws, thank you for the 20 months.
Wow.
Another month down. Happy days.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. What's she doing?
Spot.
Oh, spot. Okay, spot indeed. Right there.
$3 a spot.
Tuppence a bit. All right. Turn just. What's 14?
Okay, right. Well, your position lashed to the underside of a wagon doesn't afford you the best of capacity to find out exactly what's going on in your immediate area. You can spy that there's two pairs of familiar-looking boots nearby, and then a series of less familiar-looking boots is sort of in their direction on that side of the wagon. There is another pair of boots on the other side of the wagon, and there's a series of about 8 boots that appear to be metal and lashed to somebody's feet on the other side.
Okay.
Horseshoes. I'm joking about horseshoes.
Well, I don't really think I need to.
Monstrous
horseshoes.
beasts.
Yeah,
What?
what strange retinues come this way.
What?
An unholy amalgamation
What are
of
these?
creature and matter.
Is there any side of the wagon that I could get out without being spotted, I suppose?
Yes, there is. If you head through the rear end of the wagon, there will not appear to be any shoes right there.
Alrighty, I'm going to head in that direction then.
Me lord, please, you are above such jokes.
Oh my gosh.
It's gonna be like that this entire session,
Are
everybody.
you turning into Baldric?
Yeah.
Oh, me lord.
Maybe I'll just I'll get in trouble on purpose so I can leave the party.
Please, just comes out, hands up. Please, just kill me.
Take me to jail.
Just kill
It
me,
can't
yeah.
be worse.
Anything's better than being around these two.
I use gentle repose to preserve the corpse.
Can I use? I think it was silent step. Can't remember if that was something or not.
Silent step. Move silently.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already used that. If you use
Yeah,
stealth,
you use that to stealth into the actual place. It's used
okay.
chiefly to avoid drawing notice.
Okay. I'm trying to think of like what would be in the area, obviously where I've just come out of the rear part of the wagon.
stables.
Yeah, the cart, as near as you can tell, has pulled up to the stables and in part because you can very obviously hear the sound of nearby horses neighing and munching and such.
Oh, okay.
And you've managed, you have been able to overhear most of the conversation that's been going on whilst you've been down here, despite
Okay.
being mildly bored and asleep. So, as
and
far
then-
as you are aware, you are under a wagon which is by the stables.
Okay, is it possible to see anywhere outside of, like, a way to get out of the stable without being spotted?
Not without going into it.
Okay.
You don't know the layout of the stables, and you don't have the best of viewpoints on just your immediate area at that right now.
Are we aware that Austin was traveling underneath the wagon?
Do you think Austin would have told you?
There's a
No.
fair point.
No, my lord.
If we did, we could stick out our shoe, our foot underneath the wagon. And as long as Austin touched that, we could cast invisibility on them.
I mean, you probably could have cast invisibility on him en route into the actual
Oh,
place, and he could have just
that's
popped out
true.
anywhere.
I wasn't expecting them to follow us in. I thought they were going to go around, but yeah, we could do that maybe later.
I'm
Easiest
going to,
way into any kind of fortress is through the front door.
Through the gate.
That's true,
I'm
True.
going to wait.
I'm wondering if there's any
until
secret
people move.
entrances. What about that one right there, my lord?
yeah.
Yeah, the one with the big flashing neon sign that says entrance.
Perhaps if we were to dig a tunnel under it.
Alright, so what were you going to do, Emmy?
Well, obviously I can't really go anywhere without being spotted, so I'm going to wait.
Alright. So you guys turn the wagon over to the local stable hand, and they give you a bit of a dressing down. They make sure you're not carrying any weaponry. They make sure you're not harboring anything that could be obviously untoward.
I mean, I have a couple of weapons on me, but I surrender them.
Very good.
I
Sidonis,
surrender a
you're
flintlock
willing to
pistol.
give up.
Fun?
Is there anything I'm willing to give up?
Hmm.
Let's see what I'd have on me that they might even conceive as dangerous, I guess.
So I'm surrendering my longsword and my pistol, and also my ammunition for the pistol.
Yeah, to be honest, as far as they're concerned, I don't really have anything on me that would be considered, really. All I've got is, like, my rings, my sack, my, my headbands and all that, so I don't really feel like they should really have anything that on me
Your
that...
spell book.
Bastards.
You can try and dissuade them from taking your spell book if you wish, but you'll have to roll bluff for it.
Okay.
It's a book on manners.
It's a book on the Great Lord.
I'll
Let's see.
There is a decent chance that that the guard currently frisking you will not understand what a spell book looks like and will therefore overlook it. But
If it's mentioned, then I'll look and I'll just go, here's my Valatin training. I'm sure it's an instruction manual.
Oh, speaking of which, by the way, clear sight is above, not on me.
okay,
Because that
Yep.
would be like, no, I swear, I'm not.
aerial drone.
I swear, I'm not a wizard. Is that what's
I
that
swear
then?
I'm
This
not
is
a
my
wizard. I have
ballot,
I have a
and
white
this is
barn
my
owl
messenger
on my
owl.
shoulder, and I'm holding a large book.
I
This
swear.
is my ballot, and this is my messenger owl. I'm very important and frequently receive and have to dispatch messages.
Well, let's see if I'm just gonna keep going, and if they say something, then we'll do something about it then.
Wait, you're using
Okay.
the owl to send messages like you would be. It's like the equivalent of texting your girlfriend. You just use the
Made
owl.
going to go see Milady. Lol.
I am
When
trying to
eloquent
court
Edgar
young
was
man.
staying in our court, we had notes that an owl would frequent a nearby brothel.
Hashtag Edgar.
Alright, well, the guard frisking you has rolled a 16, and has... Like, where do you normally keep your spellbook?
It'll be in my haversack.
Okay, right. Well, he will naturally be going through your haversack. So he has managed to, like, rifle through the contents, chucked one or two of them to the ground in just general disregard and disdain, but you're able to scoop them back up. You're able to scoop them back up in short order. They might have a bit more dirt on them than they started with, but they're there. And does manage to find a hefty leather-bound tome containing what you know, at least, to be the intricate workings of magic.
I look at it, and then I'll just go to the guy, and I'll go, he's an in-training valet. I'm sure that it's just some instructions for himself.
Oh,
Their guilds take this awfully seriously, don't you know? Should I roll bluff?
Go ahead.
I haven't cast glibness on myself or anything.
As though that would matter.
It would matter a lot. That would have made that a 62.
It's early. I'm tired. I haven't cast Glibnus. Rolled 32.
You know. Oh.
I'm only a demigod at this. God.
It's only what I'm built for.
Yeah. Okay, well, the guard, like, turns it over, flips idly through one or two pages, and then slams it shut, and then just chucks it back into the haversack and returns it back to Sidonis. Everything seems to be in order here. You'll go up the main estate and go wait into the main entryway. Go no further.
Is there anywhere that I could go to relieve myself? I've been travelling on a wagon.
My lord!
I'm sorry.
The sound of a DM who knows their NPC won't see through the lie like it would matter. More because I know Elliot's builds. If he built something for a purpose, there is precious little I can do to prevent it from working.
Sorry.
Like, oh, I'll just discreetly hide this search roll. Oh, would you look at that, a natural 20!
You never. To be fair, it's possible to defeat no matter what. Because if you, like you said, you got a nat 20 or you got a nat 1.
Oh yeah.
So it's possible.
NPC will remember that.
If you've ever played pool with me, you'd know that I abhor to win by cheating.
That's
Contrary to what many people say, you can win at D&D.
Yes, it's by making the DM give up.
The Henderson.
The guard just sort of like gives you a roll of the eyes and a sigh, and directs you towards a row of buildings just sort of on the eastern fringe of the interior wall. And they don't look to be well maintained, they don't look to be the proper kind of places where the lords and such visitors go to, but they are marked as outhouses.
I'll just kind of nod, and I'll go, well, my bladder, protests that I must relieve myself, although I'd usually use some finer circumstances, but thank you very much, and I'll go and find a relatively private area, and then cast glibness on myself.
Alright. How long does glibness last?
I believe it's 1 hour per combat, per level. So
1 hour per combat. You just immediely get into a fight every hour.
1 hour per combat. I believe it's 1 hour per level. I'll just double check it.
You just hire a serf, and every hour on the hour you punch them in the eye.
Thank you, my lord.
No, it's 10 minutes per level, so it's an hour and a half.
Okay, got 90 minutes on it.
Mm-hmm.
By the by, the outhouse is definitely not for the upper crust of society. It is fragrant in the extreme, and this might not necessarily be a thing that your character specifically knows about, because spices aren't necessarily something you've encountered very often, but to give you a visual that us in the modern realm here in England can understand, somebody here had a vindaloo.
Right, okay.
Possibly several in rapid succession, and then they exited in rapid succession.
definitely information we really needed.
And Sidonis, what are you up to whilst this is going on? Do you follow Edgar to the outhouse?
Oh, of course.
So I'll use prestidigitation just to ensure that the area around me still smells peachy clean.
Right. Okay, and Austin, you notice that there are still some boots around you, and the familiar boots have gone away into the distance, but people don't seem to be paying as much attention to the wagon now that the people that were on it have left.
Oh, cool. So I have one question. If I was to... Is it physically possible for me to try and steal people?
I regret making that the outcome of that nat 20.
Well, I
It
can't
is
get
not.
seen. Oh, I was gonna say I can't get seen if they're in the bag.
Yeah, the two forms of stealth. There were no witnesses, and there are no witnesses.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna try and sneak out, as best as I possibly can, and head toward the house.
Okay, roll move silently for me.
Okay. 29.
Okay. So you manage to discreetly detach yourself from the underside of the wagon. You do a tactical roll out from underneath the wagon towards the stables, and you manage to get behind a wall that nobody's really paying attention to, without anyone really noticing you. In part because of all of the dramatic actions of Edgar and his valet. And at this point, you're in the stables. You are not currently under watch, save by a nearby horse, so naturally don't try to steal anything. This is Skyrim. And you are able to begin to sort of rotate around the wall towards the upper estate.
Okie dokie.
Damn.
So is there anything immediately within value that I can see?
Oh my god.
I mean, horses go for a pretty good bob, but
Yeah,
you can't
those
fit
are
that into the bag
good.
holding easily.
Okay.
If they were in pieces.
No witnesses.
Oh, yes, the new Mustang Compact.
Also, I'm just sending you.
A druid could come by and talk to these horses and dob me in.
I'm just sending you the link, or the images to like the roles that you can do.
Oh, okay.
So you can kind of get an idea of like sort of stuff you can do.
Oh. That's a big... Okay.
Yeah.
You knew a lot.
Rogues get a lot of spell points, a lot of skill points, rather.
See, I'm dumb, and Austin's dumb. He doesn't know what on earth he can do.
He just knows that he tends to be quite good at it.
Yeah, he just knows that he can steal things, he gets away with it, and he's the most competent out of his other two party members.
The animals have a telepathic link to the guards.
That's
how the horses work. They're the inside man.
Okay, so is there
Oh,
anyone...
crap.
Is there like a wall that has no people watching it for the actual house?
Roll spot for me.
Okay, I'm gonna have to resend those ones because the ones I sent you were mine.
Good job, thanks.
GG.
So, Amy, if you use the thing that I did, so /roll space D20 plus, and then whatever numbers
Nat 20.
searches or you spot.
Nat 20.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's how you do a roll.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm trying to recall. Amy, have you had every Nat 20 this campaign has seen?
No, not everyone.
I just got
but
a nat 20 earlier.
yeah, but most.
I got 2 in a row.
He did, yeah.
We don't
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
We don't think
There was
about
that,
silly
yes.
things like that.
I've just done the
You know
most...
what, I may as well just go back to bed and read Orlando.
Okay,
Okay,
there's
well.
your rolls.
You find yourself a section full of like just cargo, more or less, boxes of hay, barrels of such, apples, whatever. You don't really care. You're not terribly interested. It doesn't look terribly valuable. But you manage to just sneak in behind them, away from the prying eyes of the courtyard, and surveil more or less the wall. And there is definitely a rotation. There's a steady, placement of guard posts along them. And it does seem that there is one particular area that you might be able to get to without anybody seeing you, without immediately, at the very least, being found by a guard.
Okay.
And it is relatively close to the estate. The estate itself is on an actual mound, which makes it more defensible and easy to see oncoming enemies. History for you, everybody. And it's still quite a distance from the house, but it is it is one of the closer points to the house.
Okay. So at the moment, trying to climb in is not exactly looking the easiest of things.
You do have your spider climb boots, remember?
Yeah, but I gotta get to a wall for that.
Just letting you know, though, that you can essentially walk up a wall.
I already know. I am not forgetting that I can be Spider-Man.
And even then, you have a climb of 12. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much better than most of the characters in Campaign 1.
Is there any way to make a diversion?
Udro? Baldric?
Campaign 1.
Oh, well.
Before your time. Before your time.
Before.
When we're defeated by a cliff.
No, that time should be recorded as BE, right?
Before Edgar.
And all the time afterwards should be
Before
recorded
Elliot.
as AE.
Actually,
Oh man, yeah, remember that time we fought a Titan AE?
Can I actually go back into the stable?
Yes, you can manage to recover. You can retrace your steps quietly and carefully.
Okay, is it possible to scare one of the horses into running out of the stable?
It categorically is. You have knives.
Yay! Okay, so can I do that, please?
Okay. What exactly do you want to do to spook these horses?
You do
That's
also
a
have a
good
bag of
question.
tricks and an ever-smoking bottle as well, just letting you know.
Don't say stab it in the jugular.
Well, no, if you stab it in the jugular, it won't make noise. It won't,
Just
like,
stab-
whinny or do
Just
anything.
just
It'll
cut
die.
the horse's throats, like, why are you moving?
I'm pretty sure it'll
supposed to
scare the
punish.
other horses off.
just hold it to one of the horses next. It's like, move or else your friend gets it.
Oh, is there any kind of lantern with a flame?
Sorry, what was that? So I completely missed what you just said. What?
I said, is there any kind of lantern with a lit flame?
You're gonna
in
set
it?
the whole place on fire.
There are lanterns, but as it is coming up on the daylight hours, they have all been as yet extinguished.
Ruining all my fun. Oh wait, I have a dagger that goes on fire. Okay, so the real question is, are you guys attached to your wagon at all?
I mean, physically, no.
We just went to the trouble of getting it back.
I mean,
Yeah, you had a full like stealth mission back
I
in the
posed
Hillsborough.
that question 2 days ago, and both of you responded yes, and we should go get it.
I just wanted to
I say that in character, even though my character can't talk to yours of them. But
Well, it's your character.
Yeah,
you can do what you want.
metagaming pigeon on the windowsill.
yeah,
there.
exactly.
Like I did just say though, if you get found, we don't know you.
Exactly, that's why I'm trying to think of ways of not getting found and causing them a problem.
Why?
By setting the stables on fire.
We're looking to get these people to help us.
I'll burn the house down. They won't know me.
Hey, you guys let me go and do what I want. That was not a good decision.
That was not my decision.
2 kinds of stealth. There were no witnesses, or there are no witnesses.
All right. Well, okay. Go ahead. Do it.
You told them to not get found.
Okay, so I would like to set my dagger on fire that I have.
Okay, you utter the well-worn and well memorized command word, and the dagger bursts into flame, emitting light as a small torch would.
Okay, can I please set
the horse
I'm
on
tempted
fire.
to be really mean, but I think the chat would hate me if I did that.
You're gonna set the horse on fire,
Is-
weren't you?
That was exactly my fault.
I was gonna say the horses.
I'm
down
worried.
on
I'm worried
fire.
Austin's gonna stack the stable boy on fire.
I mean, it could, but I'm going to just grab a little bit of hay and set it on fire and just toss it into one of the stables.
Okay,
You're not gonna
right.
like open the gates so the horses can get out of their paddocks or anything.
No, that's the other guy's job.
No, because that'll draw people to it, of course. They'll come here to
Yeah.
rescue the horses.
Oh.
Yeah, you idiot.
So I'm gonna do that to see if I can grab them to do enough where I can sneak out without being noticed.
That's not a good
Right.
arson check. I've seen better
Okay.
in my time.
You manage to get like a handful or so of really nice dry kind of hay, and you touch it to your flaming dagger and it swiftly catches, mildly singeing your hand, but you're okay. And then you toss it into the air, and at this point you discover an interesting property about straw and hay and all sorts, which is that when they are in a sufficient mixture of hay to air, it basically becomes a powder bomb, and the stable completely combusts into flame.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, you die.
I am joking. But you do nonetheless manage to create a significant smoldering heap. This is actually quite damp hay for the most part. And it starts to put out a bunch of smoke that begins to pour out of the stable. And would that this place had invented fire alarm bells, they would be ringing at this stage, but people are rushing over to the stable to try and find the source of the smoldering smoke and put it out. And you are particularly clever enough that you dismount one of the lanterns on the wall and just leave it just dropped and opened on top of the smoldering heap, just to suggest this was an accident.
Yay! I'm blaming other people for my things. This is how I get through life. So
Are
I'm
you
gonna-
okay, Elliot?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm just basking in this.
Yes. From your guys' perspective, what happens is you walk over to the outhouse. Elliot relieves himself, assuming he actually needs to, and casts glibness and prestidigitation to smell fresh as a daisy. And then, as you are redoing your drawers, you look upon your works and are decently chuffed. And then you turn around, and the stable appears to be on fire.
Oh my! Charge forwards!
Yeah,
kind of-
meanwhile, Sidonus has been stood next to you this whole time, keeping watch for any guards that might notice you trying to cast a spell. And you, Austin, Sidonus, you have seen the smoke begin to come out of the stable. You might even have caught a slight glimpse of Austin moving back into the stable in the process.
Fire! Fire! Hello? I'm looking at hearts.
I will run. Do I see Austin leave first?
Do you?
Let's have a look.
I would like to go out with the
Spot and
smoke.
move silently, please.
All right, let's see. Alright, well, there's my spot.
All right.
Okay.
There is a chance that you'll spot Austin.
Okay. da-da.
Austin needs to roll a 7 lower to beat him.
Ugh.
Oh,
You did not.
yeah, you, Austin, you managed to get out of the now heavily filled with smoke stable without anyone spotting you in the midst of this chaos. But Sidonus, you do not see him doing so.
Okay.
I'm going to start calling out for guards and yelling
Yeah.
that there's a fire.
I'll do the same as well.
Alright, well, thankfully by this point the guards do have a spot check and have noticed the billowing smoke coming out of the stable. But you do nonetheless get noticed for assisting in their alert. And they are swiftly upon the stable, buckets of water in hand, and they manage to douse what is already a smoldering fire. So in fact, they just increase the amounts of smoke coming out of it, but they are able to find the source eventually.
During this, by the way, I make an conscious, obvious effort to be assisting.
All right. So what you find then?
I'll make a conscious effort to look like I'm trying to assist, but like a noble would, and delegating.
Supervising.
He's just got his handkerchief and he's just waving it.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
Yes, I'll call you, and you, Fire Team Jerry, and then you, and you can be Fire Team Donald, and then you will go into the back left, whilst the others go from the back right, and we shall flank the flame.
And you!
Make sure you don't go offside.
And you! Rub my feet!
Okay, well, in the process of helping out, Sidonis, you are able to find, along with a few other guards, the source of the flame, and from what you can see, it appears to have been a wayward lantern that has fallen off the wall into some hay and has begun to smolder.
Oh my!
You do not find any sign of Austin.
Good.
At this point,
I think I'd have to cast
at this
Strangle.
point, I'll look towards the guard, and I'll go, well, it's a relief that no more damage has been done, but I think at this point we should probably excuse ourselves to the waiting room. Is that fine?
It's awful timing, but Dad sees you were involved. Off you go.
Thank you.
While Edgar's going off, I'm patting down any soot or anything that happens to have even glazed his perfect self.
Thank you, thank you.
You see what I mean? This is what happens when players act as the assistants and such of players.
I'm playing the role,
For some
man.
reason, players just always go the extra mile.
But then they tick off their teammates, and then their teammates set fire to things. It's not a good idea.
Okay, so you
You know,
are...
I've got to read out this comment in a really posh voice. Oh no! I left the cigarette lighter on in the car again.
Oh no!
Oh no! Baby, can you believe it? The entire car has burned down, and the garage.
I mean, I have relatives who once burned down a caravan using only a kettle, but yeah.
I'm not sure if that's upper class.
I mean,
None of us are upper class, but wow.
What was it? I almost destroyed a pot with broccoli because I forgot that I left broccoli on the stove.
See, that's middle class. That's
Yeah.
middle class.
I was
At least
sad.
with the
I really
tea.
wanted that broccoli.
Austin, you managed to make your way around towards the back of the estate without drawing yourself too much attention. Whereas Sidonis and Edgar, you make your way to the stately waiting area of the estate. It's sort of, you go through a sort of sheltered entryway at the front, and you enter into what appears to be a sort of a decent sort of entry hall. There's the classic red carpeted gilded staircase going up and around to a sort of like overlook at the top. There's a sort of like a sofa or just sort of like a nice furnished bench in between the two. And there are large doors that could probably fend off a horde by themselves on either side of the room, as well as some very pristine and beautiful stained glass windows either side of the entry.
I'll stand and wait whilst observing the stained glass windows.
Okay, and Sidonis?
I'm standing at my master's side.
Alright. And meanwhile, Austin, you managed to find what appears to be a servant's entrance at the back of the building.
Oh, huzzah!
By that we mean a sewer grate.
Get on your knees and go in.
Well, you wouldn't be the first player on their knees this game.
Ugh.
It's
So
just a cat flap.
I don't think I've got a very good listen check, sadly.
No,
your
it's
listen's
terrible.
+2.
Yeah.
It's
Is
not
there-
negative, so that's fine.
I guess.
Okay, so I guess I'll sort of peek through the servants' entrance.
Okay, roll spot for me. It's fun. It's fun when players are like really bad at one particular kind of detection, like spot or listen, because they just end up playing as though they are blind or deaf. They just avoid those roles as much as possible.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Okay, 25. So, the servant's entrance doesn't appear to be too busy at this particular moment, but Lady Valerie probably wasn't expecting guests at this particular venture. So, there's no one, like, rushing back and forth getting ingredients for a big meal, there's no one really disposing of waste from guests or all sorts. So you're able to discreetly pull back the door and stare through the crack, and what you can see is that it leads into a modest kind of like corridor with stacks of cases and such, and wine and food on one side, and then just at the far end there's a light coming from what is you at a guess make it out to be the kitchen.
Okay. Can I sneak into the that particular room without being noticed?
Can you?
Do I have to do the spot? What's the
This would be
roll?
move silently.
Yeah, I always forget which one it is. My brain's dead.
And your move silently is a plus 17.
Oh, sorry, reading the chat.
God damn you, Andy, being involved with your fans and communicating with them.
Oh, okay. Oh,
We won't have this!
I did it!
How dare you attempt engagement?
I know.
You're a married man.
Are you trying to drive a wedge between the studio and the audience?
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. So Amy was rolling. So.
Yeah, I did it, and I did it better than Andy's, so we'll do mine.
Yeah. You've been replaced.
I was only doing it because
Okay.
the typing hurt. So.
Okay, so 25. You are able very easily to move down this corridor and find your way to the back entrance of the kitchen. And there's a large, sort of portly guy, and he's dressed mostly in whites. He's got his sleeves rolled up, and there appears to be some kind of medallion affixed to his left breast. And you have not the slightest clue what this particular medal actually relates to, but he is barking orders at a number of people who are significantly less medallion-full and significantly less refinedly dressed. And at best guess, that's the head chef, and he appears to be talking about organizing dinner for the evening. Especially now that there's 2 unannounced guests maybe stopping by. They have no idea who they are and doesn't really much care.
Okay. Can I cast spider? I can't remember what the thing is.
Spider climb? Your slippers of spider climbing?
I cast
Yeah.
spider.
Ugh.
I plan on walking along the ceiling so I'm not spotted while I go from room to room.
Which is fine until you need to go through a door.
Eh.
Don't you know those roof doors?
But yeah, 25, you are very much able to activate your slippers and just skitter your way up to the ceiling. Meanwhile, in the entryway, Edgar and Sidonis, you are approached by the very model of a butler. He appears to be in his mid-60s, early 70s. He's a half-elf, and whatever degree of color this man might have had in his youth has very clearly drained from him by this point. And you're not terribly certain if he's just blind and therefore keeping his eyes shut, or his eyes are just so ravaged by age that he just doesn't care to open them all the way anymore. But he's looking down his nose at you almost literally and says, now what purpose do you have for seeing the Lady Valerie?
Please, if I could take your name, I'd be much more comfortable to address you. And I must apologize at this moment for not announcing our intent to arrive prior to our arrival. It's just that the circumstances leading up to our decision to venture here were most dire. My name is Eloquent Edgar, and I hope to have a humble audience with the Lady Valerie.
Eloquent Edgar.
I
And
sh-
from whom do you derive this title, sir?
It is a purchase title. And I'll show my signet ring.
Yeah, he looks it over and like brings like one monocle out of a hidden pocket over to his eyes, and just you actually see his eyes are a very deep and vibrant blue. He gives your ring a very close once over. Yes, one of those lesser sorts. Poor quality, I'm afraid.
I'll bow my head a bit ashamedly, but
You must understand, of course, that the lady is quite busy, and I'm afraid she does not take easily to guests, especially unannounced and of such modest standing.
I do, of course, understand, and I would hate to impose upon her lady's manners that she has going at the moment. However, I believe that the information that we have is of utmost importance to her, as it pertains to distressing matters that have occurred in the vicinity.
Very well, I shall announce you to the lady, and she shall decide whether you are of significance to her day. Please remain here, we shall return shortly.
I'll nod my head. And I'll go.
With that, he turns around, he is not paying attention to you in the slightest bit.
Right, okay.
And just moseys on through one of the large doors to the right.
It's a very good thing Austin didn't go with you, because that guy would have really pissed him off.
Oh yeah. he is not the least bit subtle about how little he cares for anybody who isn't of, like, substantial status.
But it's good, because otherwise he might care if he ended up on fire.
You can't burn all your problems.
Yes, you can. D&D.
While when he's gone out of sight, and if is there anybody around?
There's one or two guys that are mostly just like positioned at the top of the stairs. They're mostly there just to like keep stock and make sure you don't just like steal any of the finery and such. But these guys have been on duty since like the past 5 hours or so they're flagging a bit. They're not really paying the greatest amount of detail of attention. In fact, they're mostly just like discreetly like sending messages back and forth between themselves with like hand gestures and like silent speech.
Okay.
Like they're just gabbing. You just can't hear them talking.
Okay. What I want to do is I want to stand in front of Edgar, basically with my back to them, and as if I'm brushing him off and just altering things. And I want to cast telepathic bond.
Okay, right. So telepathic bond affords you the capacity to communicate discreetly and without actual speech.
Mm-hmm.
For, I believe it's about 90 minutes for you.
Yep. 10 minutes per level. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, it's a way for us to communicate. If I think of anything, I can add to his discussions and vice versa without me interrupting.
Another thing, provided that Sidonis needs to make their own bluff, I could potentially use mine to try and give him advantage on it by feeding him lines.
Yep, you absolutely could.
Yep.
The only slight I can see of using telepathic bond is that each of the creatures affected must have an intelligence score of 3 or higher, but I think we can manage this with Edgar.
I think it's manageable, yes.
Yeah,
I mean, my
we
intelligence is 16.
should be able to compensate.
It's 16, so, just in range.
Yeah, just.
It's okay. It's okay. I have 6. I'll spare some. Okay.
Okay. So yes, you are able to cast the spell. You shield your casting in arcane somatic gestures and such from the guard sufficiently with your gestures to just dust off Edgar, and are henceforth able to communicate telepathically with him for the next hour and a half.
Cool. Okay.
And Edgar, what are you up to?
I guess I'll, keep on studying the surroundings and stuff, generally being amiable. And I'll probably start conversing with Sidonis in my head, just kind of practicing communicating telepathically without giving any visual clues.
Hey.
I'll start making fighting noises at him.
My lord.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Peter picked a pickled packle.
It's when you learn that tongue twisters work even in your own brain.
Prepare.
Yeah, so in the course of this, Sidonis, did you tell Edgar you were casting this, or did you just cast it? Was like being discreet?
Well, while I'm doing it, I'll whisper to him that I was gonna do it. So.
Okay. So you don't just get you don't just initially get
You've got mail.
an unfiltered view of what goes through Edgar's head for the first few seconds.
Yeah, I'll just start when I was doing it. I'll brush him off. It's just I'm just going to cast this. It's just pretend and just stand still.
Oh, okay. I'll divert my thoughts from thinking why this pleb is brushing me down so much. I'm joking. joking.
But yeah, so just so he's not suddenly inundated with my thoughts as well.
Yeah.
It's just can music running on loop.
No, it's just the monkey with the spring,
I was gonna say
the wind-up monkey.
for Edgar, it's just thoughts of the stable hands date.
Okay,
It's just Money by Pink Floyd.
a few moments later, the butler comes back in. Seems a bit more annoyed than when he left, because he walks up to you and says, "The Lady Valerie has decreed that she shall receive you. However, she will need to be keeping it quite brief, as she does have an engagement this evening."
That is most understandable.
You are to follow me into the next room. You are not to speak unless spoken to, and at no point are you to wander beyond the sight of the guards.
I smile and nod, and I go, "May I inquire as to whom has the audience after us?"
No.
I nod my head and smile.
Okay, and with that he turns and walks and just the sort of walk this way kind of shuffle.
Walk this way.
Top this way.
And nonetheless, you are directed through the right-hand doorway, and you are led through a series of rooms, some of which have tapestries hanging down, some of which have paintings. You get a picture of sort of what Lady Valerie should be some kind of expectation of her. You haven't really met her yourself. You've only really heard of her by reputation, which is good amongst the lords, which is usually saying it's a bad thing amongst everybody else. And she appears to be she's not an elf, but she has very pointed features, very slim features. And of course these are from tapestries and such of her in her youth, so she might be different, you don't know yet. But she has flowing, auburn kind of gingerish kind of hair, and for the most part she dresses, or seems to, as far as these paintings go, in flowing golden and purple kind of robes. The kind which, Sidonis, you might have seen once or twice on particularly high-standing mages.
Okay.
But eventually you are led into a drawing room, and there is a there is a stained glass window, the size more or less of one of the guard towers that you saw on the way through, the size of the gate you had to come through, more or less. This is a huge thing, and it is very, very old. You can tell that immediately. Parts of it have faded in color, parts of it are brighter because they've been replaced, parts of it are just straight up rusting. And there is a fireplace that's burning huge flames to one side, and just next to that, pointed squarely at the stained glass window, is a very sedate and very, very comfortable and highly polished and furnished armchair. And just over one side of it, you can see a hand, and that hand is holding a glass that is almost empty, full of red wine. It is at this point the door behind you slams shut, and you take note that either side of you, and just in the corners there, are a grand total of 6 different guards. Most of them are wielding short swords.
I'll bow. Kind of hold it until I'm addressed.
Sedonis, what are you up to?
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a case. I will bow even further because I am a but lowly peasant.
You get down on your knees and just like onegaishimasu.
Dog is up.
Not quite that, but like, you know, enough of us. Oh, hello.
You kowtow and bang your head on.
Busy Bee!
I love that actual, like, oh, hey.
Busy Bee, thank you very much for the tip, which will be going to supporting our DM. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
They're expensive.
That will be
He'll
highly
be buying
appreciated.
his glass of wine.
Yeah, I love that actually as like the bowing as a function of Japanese custom, because it's like you do the normal bow where you're still standing, and then when you get on both knees and do it straight down with forehead to the ground.
Yeah.
The further down
the
you
reason,
are.
The reason that it's exactly that. The lower you take yourself, the more like
the lower your social standing is.
Well, no, just like the more respectful you are, more or less.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love that function. It's like we started this one thing, and then we were like, okay, what's the logical extreme? Just plank.
The logical extreme is just literally laying out flat.
Just disembowel yourself.
Like the standing faint.
A few moments go by whilst you're bowing and waiting to be addressed, because you were very clearly told, do not speak unless spoken to. And for the huge window, for the fireplace broke, this is actually a quite dark room, because it doesn't face the sun at all. So you wonder why somebody bothered to put stained glass window here when there isn't really much light that gets here. But a few moments go by, the wine glass circles a bit, and a voice crackles from the armchair. And that voice is not what you expect. Because it's not. We got spam! It's not youthful. It's not the voice of somebody who comes from the upper crust that you're accustomed with. It's not the voice of somebody who has been accustomed to a life of leisure. It's a very, very well-spoken voice. It's very authoritarian. It gives you this idea that this is a person that you defer to even if you are the wealthiest person here. That kind of thing. And the voice addresses you thusly. I do not care for guests, and I do not care for information coming to me from sources unknown. So please, be swift and tell me exactly what it is you think I need to know.
Can I just ask before I get into the spiel, the name of the general guy who kind of held me up so uncouthly? What was his name again?
Let me see. That was General Rickard Rockskill.
Rockskill. Yes. Okay. So, I recently travelled to the nearby area, and near to a small village going by the name of... God, I forget that place's name as well. Hillsbrat. Small village of Hillsbrat. And whilst there we encountered a man who had been accosted and harmed at a nearby dig site. We went there and investigated and found some creatures that had attacked us and caused some damage. And when we returned to Hillsbrat, General Rockskill was there with his army. We volunteered information to him, and he held me captive.
Stop right there for a second. I'm going to telepathically tell him that with my experience with these people as well, because I've, again, where Sedonis came from, he's going to tell him, make this, okay, 1, make it quicker, and 2, make it a world-shattering event. They're not going to care about you, they don't care about the town. Make it affect her, the world, and most importantly, her money, preferably.
Okay. So, General Rockskill tried to silence me by taking my life, but I managed to escape. And the information that was given to him that I think would interest you is that I believe that this is related to the Black Empire, and that these creatures are, machine-like remnants of it, and that he is looking to monopolize it so that he can utilize their power to enact his own authority. Can I use bluff there to kind of like try and really cement the point there, but like he's trying to cement his power?
Absolutely, because you are absolutely lying about that.
Yeah. Oh man, damn 52. Fuck.
In my mind, I telepathically dab.
Okay.
52. Jesus Christ. I'm embarrassed.
What a low piece of crap you are, God.
I rolled a 2.
So your nat 1 would have been 51.
Yes.
This is what I deal with, everybody. This is what I deal with. Okay. The hand sort of like gestures, and the doors behind you clunk open, and slowly but surely the butler returns with a very old. This bottle is probably older than almost everybody in this room and most of the furniture as well. Bottle of wine, and she's just like topped back up, and he just retreats. And
Okay. I thought you were going to do like the anime thing of like, General Rockskill, hello!
Enter General Rockskill, my next meeting.
the thought came to my mind, yes.
No, I thought so too.
Yes. The intention there was to spook you.
Well spooked.
Yeah. A few more moments pass. And you wait for a more proper response. And the next thing that you are told is, you say General Rockskill made it to Hillsbrad.
Indeed.
General Rockskill of the Tolskar 23rd.
Yes.
Very well, it may seem I have some use for you yet.
Dab! Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I'm prepared for every single. My father, you mean? My lover, you mean?
I'll kind of bow again. I'll go. It will be my utmost privilege to be able to do your service, Mom. Can I use diplomacy there to really try and emphasize that?
Go ahead.
Oh, can I do tele? Oh, never mind.
I rolled a 5.
Never
A
mind.
5, and you still manage to get 30 bloomin' 6. I'm gonna have like.
If I roll a spot, I've only got +2.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to even like. I'm glad that I originally wrote the main like monster of this campaign to be those machines that are completely immune to bluffing and diplomacy.
Yeah.
But I am probably gonna have to cut your tongue out at some stage. We're gonna have to get a generator or something.
I only built it because I didn't want to fight people.
Yeah.
It didn't work with the other guy.
Yeah, you killed him and he still came back.
Yeah.
And also,
yeah.
sorry, just in the chat, General Roscoe, you mean my trusted advisor who I've known for 100 years?
General
Constant zone of
Rockskill,
truth
you
here.
mean my son?
Well, no, even better. General Rockskill, you mean me?
Me?
Just
No,
stands up.
that's the chicken
Lady
now.
Valerie was never here to
Gosh,
begin with.
arrest him!
Oh, God.
Okay. So at this point, the figure stands up, and she doesn't turn to you. She doesn't really address you, like face to face at all. But you see at least the other hand, and she says, "You are to alight yourselves in our guest quarters. You are to stay here for the next 2 days. Upon that time, we will see exactly how valuable you are to me. But I will need time to verify this information.
Oh, shit.
Of course.
You are not to leave these grounds in that span of time. Do I make myself understood?"
Understood, my lady. Lady being respect out? Yeah.
No, it's Lady Valerie. And with that, she gestures, and the doors behind you and open again.
We'll
And
leave.
you are led
Yes.
to some
They
guest
yank the
quarters
collar.
through the other doorway, which actually passes you within like a decent passageway of one of the dining rooms. You to get a lovely scent of like cooking and roasting pork as you go to the guest rooms. Austin, what have you been up to in this time?
I've been roaming
Austin, who
around
has
the
no
house.
idea what has just happened.
Yeah.
Yay! I've just been roaming around the house on the ceiling, watching people. And if they're
On the
not
ceiling,
paying
you say?
attention to something that, you know, is within reach, then I might pinch it.
Roll search for me.
Yay!
On the ceiling, you say?
Yeah.
Andy, do you
there
get
might,
like
there might be
communication
beautiful
with Clear Sight?
like visions.
Say again, sorry?
You get communication with Clear Sight, right?
Yeah, I can discuss with her, yeah.
Okay. You can keep an eye on Austin.
She's outside. She's like on top of
Yeah.
the on like guard tower or
Don't go
something.
anywhere.
Yeah, and so's Clear Sight.
No,
Not
I'm
in-
inside.
Aus-
on the
Austin's
ceiling, not the
inside.
roof.
Yeah,
Oh,
Austin's
you're
in the
inside,
building.
Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Austin is inside the building.
Right.
Which
The
one
owl
was
is
it?
outside, just doing whatever.
Austin is in the house.
Austin, the owl is just doing owl things.
Sorry, which thing was it?
Search.
Oh, search.
Okay.
You actually have a pretty good search from what I remember. Yeah, 16.
Yeah, plus 16. Ooh, okay, 34.
Nice.
So in the course of all of this, most everybody else in the building is just going about their normal business. They're not really remotely fussed by these unannounced visitors and such. And you are therefore able to secure yourself of 500 gold worth of gilded ornaments and such that you have discreted inside of the bag of holding.
Alright.
Yay, funding.
You're funding our enterprise, there you go.
Yeah, unless they find out it's missing and you're the only guests.
Yeah, I won't get in trouble because I don't know it's.
Well, we've been locked away. What can we do? and we genuinely won't have it on us. So.
True.
But okay, as you are moving through the corridors, nonetheless, Austin, you are able to see your companions being led by guards and one particularly stern-looking butler in front of them through the half of the estate that you are in.
Okay. I suppose I shall follow along on the ceiling.
Alright, could you do move silently for me? And Austin, Sidonus and Edgar, could you roll spot for me?
I mean, your move silently is plus 17.
Spot, did you say?
Yes.
7. Nice.
You're not kidding about the spot checks, are you?
I was not.
Okay,
I'm
so now...
a streamlined bard.
Yeah, glass cannon much.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so neither of you notice Austin following you. Fortunately, neither does anybody you're being escorted by. So, you are led to some guest quarters, and these are meant for the upper crust of society, so they are actually quite well furnished and looking nice. There is one master kind of, sort of like king-sized bed, which Edgar you are shown to. And then just off to the side, there is a somewhat disguised kind of door behind a tapestry, which leads to... It's not a prison cell, but it wouldn't take much investment to make it one. It's just got a kind of like humble single bed there. Not really much in the way of like windows, but it's there. That's Sidonus, you are shown to.
I just thought, actually, considering the backstory that I gave my character and where he comes from, am I kind of more of a notable than Edgar?
Yeah, probably.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
and Edgar came from dirt, you know.
Edgar came from dirt and is a bought title minor nobility, but he has frequented a fair few courts in his time and has made friends.
Because essentially, Sidonus served in the Marble City, essentially.
I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty high up. That's pretty wealthy right there.
Well, obviously for me, I'm just going to be following the one that goes into the nicer room.
Well, the bad room comes off of the good room, so like that's where they put the servant of the person who's sleeping here, basically.
Oh, yep.
So that they're close at hand should they be needed.
I'll just sit on the ceiling.
It doesn't last forever. I'm just letting you know, by the way.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm gonna wait until they leave, then I'll sit down because
Okay.
it doesn't matter if you guys see me.
Ah, I just gotta quickly check how long the slippers work.
God.
Can be used for 10 minutes per day.
I'll hold on to the chandelier.
Well,
Just
to be
brace yourself.
you do have
You feel your slippers losing their stickiness.
you do have good climb. What else could you use? What's the word? Balance plus 17. So worst case scenario, you can probably like bounce off the wall or something.
I'll just like tumble and move silently to land as quietly as possible and roll under the bed.
That's
Alright.
possible.
Yeah. Well, you are nonetheless. I'm not even going to remotely try and estimate how much time has gone here because Lady Valerie loves her pausing. But yeah, we'll say that your slippers nonetheless managed to hold out. And Edgar and Sidonus are left in the room. The door inwards goes, and they are alone. Just about that moment, however, the slippers give out and you thump onto the floor,
Yo!
brushing past the chandelier on the way.
How far up was she?
Oh,
How
about
loud was the
15
noise?
feet, but I won't even ask you to roll it because you should be able to manage that.
Okay.
How loud was the noise? Like noticeable from the outside, or?
With the move silently of Austin and the balance and such of Austin,
Yeah.
you don't think that they've heard it.
Should we
I
roll
was a
it
pretty
anyway,
heavy door.
just to see? Because if it's in that one, we'll have to come up with some silly explanation.
You presume that I haven't already.
Oh, fair enough.
Ye
It's like-
presume
Oh,
too
no,
much, Andy.
Me and me lord were just, getting familiar. So,
The mechanics of this world operate outside of your purview.
That's what GM roll is for.
okay. Well, in that case, I take my hands away from my back. And it's just and just kind of like, oh, finally, okay. Oh, finally, I don't have to act like this.
Well, I think that went alright.
Yeah,
Austin?
I would agree. Also, hello! Austin.
Good to see you, Austin.
At this point, I've just laid out all of the things that I have recently procured, and I'm just like admiring them and then putting
There's
them
all my
on
new
my
shinies.
I'm not even going to question if you actually managed to get us any information, I'm assuming.
You can't like sell that as much.
Trust me, Austin, you can sell information.
Yeah, but then I gotta talk to some dude.
Okay, so Sidonus is going to just kind of like rub his, like, you know when you grab your, like, your middle finger
Right
and you-
between your nose,
just-
like
just like that, it just puts it down, it's just, can you at least possibly map out for us the locations that you've been and maybe give us some information on the layout?
And if I might make a suggestion, Austin, perhaps viewing your spoils once you've left the area might be a bit more prudent, just in case we're interrupted at any point.
I'll just roll under the bed if somebody comes in.
I approve of your spunk, let's say, but if you're caught here, you will die. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
They're gonna catch me first.
I mean, you're not wrong,
That's true, I guess.
but also you're indoors.
They haven't done anything yet. I literally just stole a bunch of stuff, and I walked in on the ceiling, and you guys didn't see me once. Or the stable.
Okay, with that in mind, anyway, he's gonna turn to Edgar and just, there was a mighty tale you spun there.
Well, one can only hope that it doesn't come back to haunt us, but I think that should help to secure our position.
Yes. In that case, I feel we should figure out an escape route just in case. I mean, I have my dimension door. We're always handy, of course, but
That fails, there's plenty of windows.
exactly.
They're expensive windows, though.
I would prefer if we could have her as some form of
Ally.
yeah, some form of ally.
I think we have the capacity to escape. We can use your dimension door. I can alter my own appearance with my hat of disguise or with a spell. I could blend that to somebody. Although, with Austin's track record, I may be a bit less inclined. Otherwise, I believe you could potentially make us fly.
Just like borrow some soap from the hotel. Not quite.
Souvenirs, guys. That's what I'm doing. I'm bringing souvenirs that I can sell for money.
Okay.
They replace it after you go
Listen,
anyway.
listen.
It's basically
Taking
yours.
taking the remote control. Taking the batteries from the remote control.
No, taking the TV.
No. You strip the entire of the TV and just leave the shell.
No, you cut the power.
I took the TV of the room next to me.
Taking the TV, taking the plug for the TV.
Taking the wall sockets.
Taking the whole wall and the TV.
God. Okay, I'm putting a stop to this. We're nearing the end.
Visiting the hotel.
We're nearing the
Taking
end
to the
of.
hotel.
We're nearing the end, so we're probably not going to get much more done here. So
I honestly think that for Austin, we are nearing the end.
we should probably strategize what we want to do for the next stream, just so we have it written down. So they're gonna come back. We have a couple of days where we can't leave this place. So you and me are going to be attending dinners probably, or at least you will. So if I'm not attending, then I'll sleuth around with Austin and see what we can find. Hopefully either some blackmail material if it absolutely comes to it, or maybe some information on, you know.
May I suggest you're likely going to be under a large amount of scrutiny, unless you have some duties to attend to.
Yeah.
That being said, Austin has a great degree of agency here, but maybe at times a bit unreliable. If perhaps Austin were to go invisible, you were to go invisible at some point, you could potentially scout around. But otherwise, they may want to keep a tab of where you are.
Well,
Perhaps if at one point Austin's appearance were to be altered to look like yourself, and then you could leave whilst invisible, and then when the door is closed, Austin will be there. We would only need to make sure that we rendezvous again before I enter the room, otherwise you will be locked out.
Yeah.
I suppose
Okay.
you could just dimension door back into the room.
Yeah, there's options. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna call the stream there, I think. So, thank you so much, everyone, for coming along. Thank you for the subs and as well. Thank you for the donations, which I remind you go towards our Dungeon Master to help support them. Again, thank you to our Dungeon Master Lang for crafting this world for us and joining us each and every week. Thank you to elegant Elliot for spinning us a tale as per usual, and thank you to Amy, of course, for adding the spice to the campaign that we need. Oh, how are we for next week?
Everyone
I
asks.
should be all good next week.
That should be good.
Okay, and I believe we're good as well. So we shall see you next week. Thank you for coming, guys, and we shall see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.